This could just be the beginning.
Beginning of what?
All-out war. I request permission to go after him.
I cannot allow you to do this.
Jim, you're not actually going after this guy, are you?
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
Star Trek, nothing but Star Trek. Hey, watch that shipwreck way over there.
Didn't they already do that with Star Wars?
Oh, is that what that is? I thought that sounded familiar, man. Hey, you know, that goes to show you how much I am not a Trekkie. But it's funny because I grew up with Star Trek.
Bullshit. I'm not a Trekkie.
Here we go.
I don't like old Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. It's like,
now, see,
you know who they are. You're a Trekkie.
No,
in denial, right?
No, see, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that I hate Star Trek. I love Star Trek. But the average Trekkie, I'm not even talking about your super Trekkie. Your average Trekkie going to come and quiz me, and I'm going to give him a bunch of answers. Going to say, Corey, you don't know shit. All you know is that damn old Star Trek show because you probably watched it growing up because there wasn't nothing else on TV. And maybe you watched the cartoon. You remember that Filmation cartoon back in the day?
Trying to forget.
They did a cartoon? I think only a Trekkie would know that.
But see, the thing is, I don't know anything about the next generation. I ever watched Deep Space Nine or Voyager, Enterprise.
Wow, you really know all those shows.
You're getting all those
I didn't know they made all those.
I don't know nothing about Tribbles, Klingons, Romulans.
If I had a question right now, name every single Star Trek TV show on the air that used to be. You just won, but
I just did.
Yeah, it's just the latest episode of Corey's "I'm not a nerd, I swear" show.
Listen, I'm in no denial. I'm a guy that's caught between somebody saying you're not a Trekkie and some people saying you are. I love Star Trek. I really do. So when they rebooted the Star Trek that J.J. Abrams did, I thought, man, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the guys from the original Star Trek were getting old, and when the next generation came in with Picard and all those guys when they tried to make movies, people were like, oh, we don't give a shit about them.
Oh man, all they did was turn the old pussy into new pussy. That's all they did.
And it feels good.
Eventually those guys got kind of old too.
Shit, didn't they start old? Didn't Picard start out like when he 85 and when the first show came on?
That dude has looked exactly the same.
If you look at baby pictures, he has the same bald head.
He's in a wheelchair like Charles Xavier. And yeah, man, I don't know. I really like what they did with the reboot. And I kind of like what they did with this movie. But the reason why I had to preface this with okay, maybe I'm a Trekkie. I'm not a hardcore Trekkie.
Okay.
But the reason why I say that is because I feel like I'm going to have some complaints here that are going to be valid by Trekkies more than they are going to be by people who go see this, because these movies were made for the mainstream, really.
I agree with everything you just said, because I am a pretty hardcore Trekkie, and my problems with this film were, for the most part, because of like what I think they thought they were doing fan service, and ended up having the opposite effect on me, which was almost revulsion.
I kind of felt the same way. No, don't feel like you're alone, because I was sitting there going like, guys, don't stop crowbarring in every Star Trek reference that you can in this movie.
Yeah. Now I like this. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get this whole plot shit out the way, because I want to talk to y'all about this, because now I thought I was going to be crucified.
Man.
Y'all see that cross over there? I was ready to be nailed to it. I had the nails and the hammer ready for y'all, man.
You never get that last nail in, though.
I always got one arm dangling so I can pull the nail out and come back again.
That's the thing. I mean, you guys, you obviously, Leon and Cyrus, you guys are devoted. I think I fall somewhere between you like Corey, and these guys. Yeah, I'm sort of like you. The thing is that I'm aware of Star Trek, but the really good Star Trek, when they actually make something that makes sense to me that I can enjoy on a level that anybody just in general would enjoy. And that's the thing about this movie, though, is that the one thing I am familiar with so much, I think any casual fan is, I think they may see the same problems that I think we all together are seeing.
Okay,
in this film.
Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and, like I said, let me get this whole plot shit out the way. You got Chris Pine return as new Kirk, Zachary Quinto returned as new Spock. That chick,
Star Trek babies.
Star Trek, like I said, Star Trek babies, man.
Star Trek, the high school year.
Carl Urban, who looks older than everybody, but I think he's about the same age as Bones McCoy. Who's Zoe Saldana?
Yeah.
John Cho. I goddamn. man. Just look it up.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah,
Simon Pegg and Scotty.
Movie. They're all back.
Yeah. They got all the new Star Trek people, the new fresh Star Trek.
CW cast is all returned.
Yeah, there you go.
They're still driving an Apple store.
Yeah.
With lighting problems.
They all made new costumes at the same shit that the new Spider-Man made his costume out of. You know,
The only thing that's new is brand new lens flares in different shapes.
Oh, but
even they're back.
Yeah, even they're back. That's another thing that we're gonna talk about. But in this one, they Kirk is fucking up again. Again, he's getting kicked out of his ship. But they had to bring him back when Benedict Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch.
Benedict Arnold.
No, guys. He got him close to right. Let him.
I got it close.
Let him have that one.
That's the most British name in the world.
That's why I can't say it, man. Should be like a sir in front of that.
I mean, only more British
governor.
name I ever heard was Livingstone Bramble, and that guy wasn't even British.
Yeah.
He was from the West Indies.
But he comes in as a guy named Lieutenant Commander John Harrison, who for some reason just has a hard-on for wanting to destroy the Federation.
Starfleet.
The
He's a goddamn
Starfleet.
terrorist.
He's pretty much the Osama bin Laden of the future.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what they're painting.
Except Will Shade.
Except he dresses very European. He's got turtlenecks. He's got that goth hair that, you know. And nobody really knows what's pissing him off so much, but what they do know is that this guy's badass. I mean, guy can fight. He can beat up any fucking alien in the universe. Klingons, you thought were badass. He says, "Shit." You said the Klingons in my ass are better than
They even go as far as referring him to Superman.
Yeah. Now, okay, you know what? That's all you really need to know. That's all you really need to know, because the rest of the movie, to me, I think it's a good movie as far as summer movies go. It's fun. I don't think you're going to waste your time or money if you go see this. I think the thing that Star Trek fans need to know is that, and I don't think I'm nitpicking when I say this, it feels like they've taken the icons of Star Trek and applied it to pretty much a routine summer blockbuster.
But
a good one. Don't get me wrong.
No. I'm right there with you, where I go like, look, for a summer movie, a popcorn movie, you know, that summer blockbuster, sure, it's fine. But
it has all the trappings.
It has all the trappings. However, when you look at what they did with the first movie and how it felt fresh and original, even though it's a throwback but original at the same time, this doesn't have that. This it borrows too much from the Star Trek past and those iconic things, and just crowbars them in to such a level where it's like somebody said, like, "Hey man, I know how much you love cotton candy." It's like, "Yeah, I do like it." Well, I made you a whole feast of cotton candy.
Yeah.
And after you ate so much of it, you'd be like, "Okay, my throat is closing."
See, Cyrus, I want to see if you agree with this.
I agree with everything you guys have just said.
Well, what I'm saying is that this feels more like a Star Trek Easter egg movie than it does like a Star Trek movie.
Well, I think even if you're a fan and you go like, ooh. Ooh. All right, yeah, that's in there too. All right, you found a way to stick that in too. God damn.
I didn't even really mind the referencing in the first 2/3 of this. I mean, there was too much of it. I agree, but there were points too. I was like, the background stuff. I was like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
And they weren't calling attention to it. It was just there. You're like, at one point, there's a model of the first Enterprise on the thing.
Sure.
I was like, oh, look at that. There it is. And another point, there's the people who on that same crew. There's a doctor, and you get to see Kirk fuck two of the females of it. And I was like, yeah, you knew he was going to meet up with them. Because they're horny. But when it gets into the third act, when it's like, okay, we all know what game we're playing now, so let's do the same game that you've seen before, only slightly different, mirrored. That almost every bit they clung on to with those things, like, oh, this is what the fans want to see, was just, it was like watching somebody tramp on somebody's grave. You know what I mean? It was kind of insulting. And the thing is, up to that point, with the exception of, like, you know, I definitely have criticisms here and there that are more nitpicky than not. But up to that point, I was really enjoying it. But that was the point I was like, what the fuck are you doing to me? What are you doing to Star Trek fans?
I thought about you. I was like, I wonder how he's taking this. I was like, maybe he's loving it because of the tribute, or he's going like, Oh, come on. This is my most treasured memory.
Well, there's a point I thought they were going to take, when they reveal stuff about the villain, I was like, oh, I've rolled my eyes.
I did too.
I was like, seriously?
I was like, please don't do that.
J.J. Abrams
Please
is
don't.
the biggest liar in the world. I just want to say that right now as far as advance press goes. But that being said, it looked like maybe it was going a direction where it was going to reinvent it so much so that I was like, okay, maybe I might be with this. This is kind of interesting where they're going with this. But no.
I don't know. It's one of those, watching it, I really did. I was having a lot of fun with it, especially, with the visual eye candy that it gives you.
And it's plenty.
But even saying that, though, there were a lot of moments in this film that I thought J.J. Abrams really fumbled the ball with, that were so, that should be so routine as a filmmaker, especially when you're taking on a new series and you're trying to show people something, give something new with it. But just as a filmmaker, the filmmaking aspect of it, there were points where I wasn't understanding, wow, who's the cinematographer on this movie, and why did they decide to choose shots that really kind of had me scratch my head, where there were little, this is a nitpick, but there were moments where you didn't really get to see the Enterprise all that much because the camera was so zoomed in on it. Like when you're first introduced to the Enterprise, I was like, wow, this is bad filmmaking, because I can't make out what this, I know it's the Enterprise, but I can't make it out what it is on the screen. And I noticed little problems like that were throughout the film, but getting to the meat of it all, the biggest problem I had was problems that I saw that were going to come after seeing the first movie, where I'm like, okay, wow, this isn't so much of a reboot. It's still a continuation of the original Star Trek, yet there's going to be problems with these stories from here on out, because we've introduced somebody from the original series who has seen everything, knows everything from beginning to end of how this crew, with the things that they're going to experience. And I thought for some reason that was the biggest handicap of the story, where I'm like, okay, you kind of painted yourself in a corner. And seeing that last third act, I was like, okay, please don't do what I think at this point everyone is already seeing coming. Yeah. And once they do, it was the punch. It was the punch in the gut to me, seeing how they did that and seeing how badly they did it. Well, it just it felt, that last part felt so derived. I mean,
let's not forget, they telegraphed the solution to the final crisis
that bugged me so much.
Far ahead of time in this film. One of those things that, talk about a MacGuffin. Jesus Christ.
It's a throwaway scene, and you go why was that even?
Well, it's there's no reason to be so ultra specific about this thing, which, by the way, doesn't make any sense in Star Trek canon, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
And then, the whole final crisis that's supposed to be very emotional is completely dramatically diffused because of it.
Yep.
There's no drama in it.
Yeah. Instead of feeling stuff, you're like, come on, move on past it.
Exactly.
We know what's coming. Actually, one of the bigger problems I had with the third act, because we really dogged on that third act, but that's where it all kind of like everything that's happening is mostly good. There's some things not so much, but you go okay, the third act, this is where you save it. This is where you win the game. Yeah. And that's where it started really falling apart. And a big problem I had was that the third act is one crisis on top of a crisis on top of a crisis on top of a crisis.
Wrapped in a burrito.
Yeah. I mean, there's okay, we got to get from our ship to that ship. All right, we got a small time to do it and a tiny window to get through there. Okay, we got to jet through. All right, let's go. All right, that's fine. But now we got space debris. Well, now our equipment is failing. Now we might die out here because of a cracked windshield. It's like, God damn, guys, 2 crises are enough. You make it to where
really, that bothered you, because I kind of liked that they were able to pile that kind of action on.
I don't, because then it's like, okay, now we got to run. Now everything's turned upside down. It's just like it's so much of it that I'm like, it kind of means nothing. It's like, well, just let me know when you get it worked out.
Can I say that didn't bother me?
I think the only reason it kind of bothered me, and not in that kind of specificity, is just that this whole film doesn't ever give you a chance to breathe at all. There's a little bit early on where there's points with character building stuff, but it's most of the character stuff is people just barking funny lines at each other while they're running past each other. It's constant action throughout this movie, which is normally a good thing. And it certainly makes for a fun summer film. I'm not denying that. But in terms of a Star Trek movie and these characters, I'm like, let's see a little more here. I want to see something that's where the plot isn't all running and gunning. I want to see those moments when the audience gets a chance to savor the fact that they know Kirk's got something up his sleeve and he's about to totally fuck somebody with it.
See, that's the thing. You're right. I think from a Star Trek fan's point, I'm gonna leave that shit alone because people are saying, "Damn it, Corey, you said you ain't a Star Trek fan, so leave that shit alone." But I do love Star Trek. I'm just thinking, and again, I'm not a hardcore fan. I just think for some people out there, seeing this be, albeit a good summer blockbuster, but just seeing it being nothing more than a summer blockbuster might throw you off a little bit. And again, there's nothing wrong with that because I think the movie's fun. I just don't think it doesn't feel as sincere.
Doesn't feel like Star Trek.
Yeah, it was fun in the first movie.
Yeah.
But now, God damn it, we in the second movie. It's kind of seeming like it's just people having fun imitating other people.
But they won us over because they managed to do new things that were familiar, but things that were new, and we couldn't guess it. And here, they just made it to where like, yeah, you know what's going to happen. We're just playing to what you know.
Well, the point that they're missing, especially just what this whole series is about, is is this crew? The camaraderie that they've all had over years. And that's the thing that we had with the original Star Trek. We had like 3 years of TV show to let us know these people know each other, inside and out. So when events happen in the actual movies, they have such a great impact because you know how much these people care about each other.
Right.
Where this, it did feel so crowbarred in. It's just like, well, what do Star Trek fans want with this next one? Let's see what they're asking for on the internet. All right, let's give that to them because you know what? I don't know what else to do with these characters. I was never a big fan anyway.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, let's do it. How can we lose? I mean, that's what they're cramming for.
Exactly. They're like, hey, we ain't used this stuff yet.
Here's a great character. Why not use him right now? We might not get to use him again.
Hey, man, I got a triple lying around. Let's put in a second movie.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm betting you anything the next movie they go back in time to somewhere in the 20th century. I'm just saying right now. I'm calling it the Enterprise gets trapped on Earth in the 20th century.
I figure they go forward and run into Patrick Stewart.
That would be
he ain't gonna come back.
That'd be kind of cool. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do.
They're gonna find a way to put Shatner in it. I'll tell you that much.
Shatner was supposed to actually be in this.
Yeah, originally they were talking about him being in this one.
Maybe he can play the whale in the next movie. Yeah.
He said, "Hey, Priceline's paying me way too much to come and fuck around with y'all." No, I ain't doing that no more.
But hey, can I ask you guys something real quick though? Since we're talking about kind of repeating what we've seen before, but the other shocker that I had in me was, wow, a lot of these scenes that have nothing to do with really the story seemed like they were being taken straight out of the first movie that we just saw. Like just certain scenes. I'm like, I've seen this before. I've seen the shot before of the Enterprise coming up with the billowy clouds. I've seen Kirk shoot through space before, and I was like, really? You're retreading things that you've done in the first movie.
Yeah, I think
bother me.
You just getting back in here for what he said.
Bullshit. Yeah.
I want to come in because it sounds like we're all dog pounding on the movie, and I don't want to do that. I mean, I want to get the complaints out the way because I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, and I just, a lot of people are going to be mad to hear even us saying, if we still say we like the movie, and we're putting out legitimate complaints because people have been looking forward to this movie so much that it's gone.
Sure.
That they're going to be upset. Yeah. But I did like the movie. I mean, listen, take everything out of it that Star Trek, look past that because really this is they rebooted it because they wanted to get more mainstream people in. This is not a Trekkie Star Trek. This is a mainstream Star Trek movie, and as a science fiction action movie, I think it's a lot of fun. You say the movie doesn't slow down enough for you to breathe. I think that's great. I think the pacing in this movie is incredible. There are so many action sequences in here, and a lot of them are done with the thing that you complained about is what I liked. A lot of them are done by just piling on one suspenseful action scene after another. That I think it's directed incredibly in that way.
I don't have any complaints about that either as a summer movie. Like I said, my complaint with the pacing was only this makes it not a Star Trek film or not Star Trek. They never gave it a chance to be Star Trek. It's Star Wars. That's fine. And it's fun. And it does what it does most of the time pretty well. Like I said, I have issues with some of the plot mechanics, which are just like, I guess they assume their audience is too stupid to pick up on some of the most obvious setup stuff they do early on. But there's a lot to actually like here. I mean, the special effects are fantastic. There's lots of cool sequences. There's a new Federation ship in here that's like really frightening and cool. I like that they introduced the character of Carol Marcus into this, which brings you back to the original series and the storyline in a way that I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. I like that ultimately this is a film about two things, which is, in Trek lore, which is one, this Kirk is bratty. We need to make him not so bratty anymore and figure out how to make him learn to be responsible. I like that. Yeah. And two, that the Federation is not about war and blowing shit up. They're peacetime. They're explorers. And it's really about setting that in stone. We're not here to go blow the shit out of the galaxy.
Yeah. The only complaint that I really have, again, taking Star Trek out of it, I really think it's a movie that's a lot of fun, except that I didn't feel any emotion in it. Even the emotion that they had in there was something that they were trying to mimic from another Star Trek movie, and that didn't feel right.
It failed miserably.
In fact, they at first I was kind of rolling my eyes, saying, "All right, I see what you're doing here. It's not working for me, but I can let it go." Then there's a line they put in there, and I just shook my head, man. I said no. I said no, you didn't.
I know.
I think we all said that.
Smack everyone involved.
That Revenge of the Sith line.
Yeah, it's that embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I want to. If somebody was sitting next to me and start clapping their hands, I want to just elbow them to the face so bad. I'm like, cut that shit out. You know you don't like this.
I like hearing things I recognize.
Exactly.
As soon as Saturday Night Live starts making, pokes fun at that line, you're like, okay, you can't use that ever again. It's the power of it is gone.
Yeah.
And I don't like that Spock is dating Uhuru. I don't think that's cool.
Well, it's the first time Zoe Saldana is not dating somebody who's white.
That's just another Vulcan that's taking another one of our good black women, man.
But he's a green-blooded, pointy-eared, no good, dirty
goblin.
I just can't see. The reason why I don't like it, and I really don't, I cannot see Spock having sex.
Well, he definitely has sex, but that's neither here nor there. The problem with it is that it feels like Abrams wants to pull the human side too much out of Spock.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. Nobody likes that side.
I know.
You only bring that out when it's like, okay, this is like really important for him to be able to get over his Vulcanish to be human. And here, him dating Uhuru, there's too much of it. Him having to go like, oh, baby, come on now. It's all right.
That's what, when they get in arguments.
Because he would be like, that is completely illogical, and perhaps we should go our separate ways.
That's where they bring in the CW TV show where you're like, oh, okay, I don't, this really isn't all that important to me.
Hearing your bitch ass complain is highly illogical, and I don't know why I'm putting up with it.
Yeah, but I
think Chris Pine does a good job. He's likable and everything. At the same time, I was watching thinking like, well, I think about it, like the things I really loved about Kirk was his confident swagger and the fact that he kicked ass. And Chris Pine gets his ass handed to him over and over and over again. It's
but this is the mirror universe. Come on, Leon. How many times do they have to tell you? It's not the same Kirk.
I get it. I'm just
saying.
It
is the same Kirk. It's just Kirk much younger than we ever saw him in the original show.
Give him time, man.
And I think that's the problem.
It's prequel Kirk.
And that's the problem. I think because it is prequel Kirk, that's why we don't have that emotional resonance that we need from this new cast. I mean, like I said, when you have characters there that, we all know who they are, yet it's like they still, with this movie, the biggest problem I had is this crew still does not know each other.
Exactly.
They really don't. They still are as clueless as they were when they were introduced. It's like what they did with Neo. Like Neo at the end of the first Matrix, this guy has a wealth of knowledge. He knows that he's the most super badass motherfucker on the planet. Yet when we get to part 2, everything is forgotten about.
He's fighting again. Why are you fighting?
Yeah, he's back to square one. And I thought that's where all these characters were, especially with the storyline, where all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, they're all together, yet they all get disbanded. Spock has to go here. Scotty has to go over here. Everybody's quitting, and I'm like, wait a minute, I already saw this. I don't want to see this again.
Well, you know what? I know that you're talking about the the cast that we've seen before, but Benedict Cumberbatch was actually I thought he was actually really good. Man.
I liked him,
and I heard some complaints about him saying that he's just a regular villain that doesn't have too much character.
No, he was fantastic.
No, he's badass, man.
Unfortunate choice of plotting with his character. But he, as an actor in here, is terrific and frightening, and he commands the screen whenever he's on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, people have always, I know these girls are always like, oh, he's so good looking. You see him on Sherlock with his big old mop of hair. You're like, really? You think that guy's good looking? And in here, you're like, okay, I can see it now.
Well, I don't know if they did something with his voice, but I was like, I don't remember this guy having that much of a commanding voice like when you hear him in this movie. But that's kind of what works about him. I mean, he is something about, there's something about him as a villain where he's like, wow, this guy, he knows his move before anybody on the ship does. And that's what makes him a great villain. Yet at the same time, he completely fizzled out at the end.
Yeah. You think so?
I definitely think so.
But do you know what?
Yeah.
That fool's got bass in his voice, man.
Yeah, he does.
But somebody called Benedict Cumberbatch, whatever. He's a that dude.
Cumberbun.
Cumberbun.
That was coming next.
They said that dude was gonna be Smog. I thought it was. I never pictured him with a deep voice. I thought Smog gonna be, hey Bilbo, man, you doing my goal, man.
Elementary Bilbo.
His voice is. You're right. It's very commanding.
I watched you murder innocent men and women. I was authorized to end you. And the only reason why you are still alive is because I am allowing it. So shut your mouth.
Captain, you're gonna punch me again over and over till your arm weakens. Clearly you want to, so tell me. Why did you allow me to live?
We all make mistakes.
No. I surrendered to you because, despite your attempt to convince me otherwise, you seem to have a conscience, Mr. Kirk.
No, to sum it up, this movie to me, it's a gourmet dessert. I mean, they put a lot of money into making it. It's well worth the price. It tastes great, but once you're done with it, it's still an empty meal. It's empty calories. I mean, it's great to. I would not complain to anybody who said they saw this and paid full price for it. I myself want to see it again just to see it in IMAX because I think the action is so good. But
30 minutes of this was filmed for IMAX too, so it's
really
a pretty big difference.
Oh,
okay.
Well, there you go, Corey. I see what your weekend is going to be.
Can I get a bargain price just for that 30 minutes? Can I go and haggle with them at the front? Yeah. If you go see it for full price, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. This is just me giving it a rating based on the strengths and the downfalls of this movie, and I think that it comes out to a very exciting, very fun matinee.
I agree with you mostly.
Of course you do.
and saying the movie's beautiful, that makes it sound like, oh, it's really pretty and shiny. I don't just mean that. Like some of the shots are breathtaking, and I love how it gives real weight and size to the Enterprise and everything, all of its surroundings, and just see it from angles, or just even like space from angles that I've never seen before, just how well they recognize the other ships. I was very impressed by that. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's fantastic as the villain. And I didn't even have trouble with any of the actors at all. I mean, I didn't like that Bones is only on to deliver a one-liner and then he was just gone. Yeah. I was like, man, what happened to him being one of the best parts of this whole thing? Your gourmet dessert analogy is perfect.
Thank you.
Because it is one like you eating that dessert and it's great, but there's a point where it's like it's too much sugar and it's
I can't finish this.
Yeah, I can't finish this, and it's empty calories. I felt like the movie to me. I felt the length of it. By that third act, I was like, wow, I kind of want this to be over. I'm with you. I think if somebody paid full price, I would even say, like, look, on the scale of summer blockbuster movies, yes, it's a full price movie. However, it's one that when I came out of it, I don't have that rush, that desire to go back and see it again. Mm-hmm. I'll catch it later sometime.
Okay. What'd you get?
I'll give it full price. I know what people want. I mean, even if I paid full price, I wouldn't come out going, man, but I'd be like, well,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, I cannot completely separate my fandom from this. It's a Star Trek movie.
Sure.
And most of my biggest problems with this are related specifically to that, where I thought, like, whereas the first movie, they were more careful to try and say, oh, well, this is still plausible within the canon. With this one, they're more playing fast and loose with stuff. I think they made the bad guy into too much of a supervillain in some ways, and the way he's playing. I mean, the guy's, he is practically an X-Man, really.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? But I think there are a lot of things that really do work well. One of the things we didn't even discuss was the humor. I thought this was a very funny movie.
Yeah.
There's, as much as I was saying earlier, most of the character back and forth is just that. It's just barked off lines. They're really funny lines. They make it work, and Simon Pegg gets lots of screen time, which is great. I was super thrilled to see Scotty be a big part of this one and get to do really cool stuff.
Even though we had to lose Bones in the process. But
Well, Bones had all the big scenes in the first one. Now you get Scotty gets his chance. Bones and Sulu got their moments in the last one. Poor Chekhov. He's just like, I'm in this movie, I swear.
They put him in the basement.
I know, right?
Scream Victor, Victor, all you want down there.
But, like I said, as flawed as this is, even outside of the Star Trek thing, there's, lots of problems. Like the lens flares, you almost think that, people were yelling about lens flares in the last one. He's like, fuck you, I'm going to do 10 times as many.
Oh, you guys like the lens flares, huh? Wait, no, I thought,
That's the point, I really wanted to,
lens flares, they're a problem in this movie, man. I'm going to say it, all right?
I wanted to put down my sun visor at one point. So many of these goddamn things.
Well, you notice that everyone on Earth all had sunglasses, and we all know why now.
J.J. Abrams was filming. It's not a lens flare anymore. It's a guy standing behind the actors with a spotlight on you. Come on, man, get that light out of my eyes.
Hey, get off the set, John Carpenter. Come on, man.
But it's cool to see a lot of things in here. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to see. We never see in Star Trek Earth in the future. We almost never do. We see the inside of a building and that's it. Here we get to see a lot of Earth. That's pretty fucking cool. And it is just fun up until that point towards the end where I was fighting my gag reflex. It's sad that they couldn't have found a way around that. They couldn't have found a way to make this more original, but it's still a fun summer blockbuster. Like you said, the dessert. It's a matinee though for me.
Yeah. All right, Cole.
Yeah.
You the deciding factor right here.
I
man.
know.
Will you even this out, or will you make Leon wrong?
I'll make everybody wrong.
Some old bullshit.
Some Star Trek shit for your ass.
Star shit.
Put this with 7, all the even, is the odd numbers that all sucked? Is that what it was?
No, all the even numbers.
All the even. Okay.
We're the good
I'm not a Star Trek fan, but it's one of those movies that I watch and I'm like, I'm there for the ride, and it definitely was a complete ride. I was excited. I was amazed. Some of the special effects look amazing, but after the whole thing, you do realize okay, my brain's starting to kick in. All right, what's going on here? And it's all because of that third act. It really is. The third act really is the crowbar of this film, and that's too bad. They should have stuck to their guns and done something completely different, and not so much worry about what the fans want or what's happened before in that timeline. For me, I can't help but think that as much as a fun ride is, it does have so many problems because of that third act, and it's problems I can't really steer away from. But even thinking more about it, I was really I was really surprised by how just some of the action sequences involving ships just were not impressive. I mean, I hear you guys saying that you really enjoyed the special effects, liked them, but I mean, I was really going, wow, I can't make out hardly anything. Even this new ship that they introduced.
Did you not find exciting when they were tearing it? Did you not find excited when they were tearing the Enterprise apart? Because I found that
when it's inside the ship and you actually see people flying around. No, that's all gorgeous. It's just I'm talking about the scenes outside in space.
Actual space battle.
Yeah, outer space battles.
I see.
The outer space battles of it really disappointed me. And I'll tell you why. Because Star Trek delivered a movie that really, they made starship battles like a dance. It was like an opera, watching a previous Star Trek movie that really go, wow. It just reminded me how great the previous movie that I've already seen, how that was, and how even with this huge budget, they couldn't get the emotional resonance that I was expecting from an older movie that I saw with a far less budget. So saying that, I mean, yeah, you are right. It is it feels like watching Star Trek dinner theater, but yeah, I have to give it a matinee. I mean, right. I'm still thinking about this movie right now as we speak.
Hey, Leon, all this change your mind yet?
Well, no, because
I'm just messing around.
No, well, the thing is, I was right there. I meant a low full price. 'Cause I was right at the low full price, high matinee. But I got to say that I was impressed by the 3D and how they kept up doing stuff with the 3D even toward the end. Like the end credits, I sat around watching those because they used 3D for. And there's so many movies where it just peters out and you're like, oh, what was the point?
So what you're saying is that Star Trek gets a matinee, but the 3D gets a full price.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey, man. You love that dessert, huh?
The dessert tastes that much better now,
Well,
doesn't
they
it?
put a little cinnamon on it. And that changed everything.
A little sugar in your ass? Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
The ship's dead, sir. She's gone. No, she's not.
No ship should go down without her captain.
I believe in you, Jim.